Hey guys, it should be here. Today we're going to factor simple trinomials. And yes, they really are that simple. They're simple. So a simple trinomial is a polynomial which has three terms, hence the trinomial, right? So a simple trinomial looks like this. Something like x squared plus bx plus c, where b and c are just numbers. So b is a coefficient and c is a constant number. And very importantly, the value in front of the x squared is technically a 1. So we don't actually have to show it, but there's technically a hidden 1 there. Okay, and just also recognize that it goes in descending order of highest exponent, right? We have the x squared, then the x, and then just the constant number. Okay, so this is a simple trinomial, and we're gonna go ahead and factor this thing. Here's our first example. Factor the following: x squared plus 3x plus 2. So first off, we know this is a simple trinomial, three terms. We have a 1 in front of the x squared. Again, very, very important, but I'm just going to erase the 1 because we don't really need it there. Okay, so there's a couple super easy steps to factor this simple trinomial. All we need to find is two numbers that add to the middle coefficient of plus 3, and at the same time, those same two numbers we find have to also multiply to our constant term at the end of positive 2. So we need to find two numbers that add to positive 3 and at the same time multiply to positive 2. Okay? And if you're super stuck on this, the best technique is to look at the number you're multiplying to, in this case the positive 2, and list all of your factors to get there. Okay, so somewhere on the side, factors of positive 2. So what can we multiply by to get to positive 2? Well, we can do 1 multiplied by 2. That'll get us to positive 2. We can also do negative 1 multiplied by negative 2. That'll also get us to positive 2. And that's pretty much it. That's the only way we can get to positive 2. So we found all the possible ways to multiply to positive 2. Now we need to check which of those pairs also adds to the plus 3 we were looking for in the middle there. Okay, so let's check. So the first pair, 1 plus positive 2 over here, that actually adds to positive 3, which is exactly what we want. So that's going to work. And just to double check, the second one, negative 1 plus negative 2, that adds to negative 3, which is actually not good. Okay, so we're going to ignore the second pair, and the numbers we want are going to be these top two, the positive 1 and the positive 2. Okay, we found the numbers. We found the numbers that add to positive 3, and those same two numbers we know already multiply to positive 2. So we can jump right into our answer now. This is super easy. All we have to do is make our brackets, make two pairs of brackets. And we're going to first put our variable. Our variable in this case was x. We use x in this scenario. So we're going to put x there and x there to start our brackets. And then we're going to place our two numbers. We have a positive 1 and a positive 2. So we're just going to go plus 1 and then plus 2. And then we're done. That's it. The order of the plus 1, plus 2 doesn't matter. You could have put the plus 2 first, plus 1 second, but that's our final answer. It's factored. And to check that we did it correctly, what we could do, so final answer, you just have to leave like this. But if you wanted to check that you did it right, you just have to re-expand it, right? Because expanding is the opposite of factoring. So you can just go x times x is x squared, x times 2 is 2x, 1 times x is x, and 1 times 2 is 2. And just clean this up. We can add our like terms in the middle. If you have two x's and you add one more x, you now have 3 x's. Everything else stays the same. So I have an x squared there, and we have a plus 2 there. X squared plus 3x plus 2. Hey, what do you know? That's exactly the same as what we started with. So we know we're solid with this one. Okay, let's do one more. We're actually going to do two more, but here's our next problem we're going to do. So factor the following. This one looks scary. I see A's and B's. What am I going to do? I'm starting to freak out already. So this one, again, it's not that bad. What we're going to do, just like the X was the variable in the last question, I'm going to just right off the bat, I'm going to define the A as my variable here, right? The first term, A squared, is the first variable, and then the A is the variable in the second one, and everything else, the B's, we're going to kind of treat it as the coefficients or the constants. So we're just going to treat the B's as kind of like a number for now. And because we're going to do that, I'm just going to rewrite the middle 9AB kind of backwards. Let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to go A squared plus, I'm going to make it 9BA, and then everything else I'm going to leave exactly the same. Okay, so all I did is just swap the order of the A and the B there. This way, I can see that that's my variable, and that's my variable, and everything else is going to be kind of acting as a number, a constant or a coefficient. So the 9b in the middle is going to act as a number, or technically our coefficient, and the 8b squared is again going to act as our constant at the end there. Okay, so in this scenario, again, same factoring rules, we need two numbers to add to the middle term, the middle coefficient. So two numbers to add to positive 9b. So I'm going to add to positive 9b, and at the same time, those same two numbers have to multiply to positive 8b squared. Multiply to positive 8b squared. And since we're multiplying to an 8b squared, we're going to need something that has a b multiplied by another b. Because when we multiply two variables together, we add the exponents, remember? So b has an exponent of 1, b has an exponent of 1. So when you add those together, you get b to the exponent of 2. So we're going to need two terms with b's in it. So let me just figure out some terms here. So we are going to list factors of 8b squared. That's the best way to start this off if you're stuck, right? So factors of 8b squared. So to multiply to 8b squared, we can do b multiplied by 8b, right? B times 8b gives you 8b squared. We can do the negative versions, right? So negative b multiplied by negative 8b. That also gets us to 8b squared. What else can get us there? We can do 2 and 4. So 2b's multiplied by 4b's. That'll get us to 8b squared. And of course, the negative versions of that also work. So negative 2b multiplied by negative 4b. And that is all of the factors of 8b squared. Now we just got to find the one that adds to, we want positive 9b, right? Add to positive 9b. So let's add these ones. And I'm going to add them backwards. You'll see why. So the bottom one, if you add negative 2b, and then you add negative 4b's to that, you now have negative 6b's. Negative 6b. So that's not good. That's not what we want. The next one above that, 2b plus 4b. If you have 2 of something and you add 4, you now have 6b's. The one above that, negative b plus negative 8b's, you're now at negative 9b's. Still not what we want. But the top one there, b plus 8b, we now have 9b's. And that's bingo. That's it. That's the one we want. It's the winner. Okay? We wanted the 9b and we found it. So those are our two numbers that we are going to use, b and 8b. Okay, and realistically, when you're listing these factors or when you're thinking them in your head, as soon as you find the one that works, you can go right to the answer there. Okay, so our answer, remember, we're going to go brackets. So brackets, we put our variable first. Remember, in this case, our variable was the a. So we're going to put an a here and an a there. Don't mistake it for a 9. It's just an a. And then we're going to put our two numbers that we came up with. So it's going to be b and 8b. So we can go plus b and plus 8b. And again, the order of those doesn't matter. You could have done the 8b first and put the b second. It'd be correct either which way. Okay, so there's our final answer right here. A plus b multiplied by a plus 8b. And again, to double check your work, you can re-expand it out just to make sure that it works. You can go a times a you get a squared. A times 8b, you get 8ab's. Then you go b times a, which gives you 1ab. And then you get b times 8b, which gives you 8b squared. Okay, so whenever you expanded it out, in terms of the variables here, usually you write them in alphabetical order. I just swapped them early up here backwards, just so that I really know which one's acting as the variable and which one's kind of acting as a coefficient. But usually when you write it out, you do keep them in alphabetical order. Okay, and then you just clean this up. 8ab's plus ab's, 1ab. You now have 9ab's. 9ab's. Everything else is the same. A squared plus 8b squared. And what do you know? That's the exact same as our original question there. A squared plus 9ab plus 8b squared. So we know that we factored this simple trinomial correctly. Okay? One last problem to finish this off. Sometimes when you're given a simple trinomial, you need to remove a common factor first and then factor the remaining simple trinomial with the same strategies we just talked about. Okay, so this one here we're going to factor fully. 3p squared minus 30p minus 72. So you notice right now there's a 3 in front of the p squared there. Okay, and if that 3 is there, it is technically not a simple trinomial because we need there to be a 1 in that spot. So what we're going to do here, we're going to common factor out a 3. Okay, so we're going to take out a 3 from all this. And when we do that, we're going to divide all of our terms by 3 to figure out what's in our bracket, right? This is common factoring. You should always common factor first before you factor anything, if you can. It just helps you simplify it. So 3p, so we get p squared. 30 divided by 3, we get negative 10p. And 72 divided by 3, we get negative 24. Okay, so this is what we're dealing with now. That 3 on the outside, we'll save it for our final answer, but we're really worried about this trinomial in here. So we can go ahead and factor this one using our strategies. Okay, so we need two numbers to add to negative 10. So add to negative 10. And those same two numbers have to multiply to our last constant of negative 24. So multiply to negative 24. So let's start listing factors of what we need to multiply by. So factors of negative 24. And again, as soon as you find the one that adds to the negative 10 that you want, then you can stop there. So we can do negative 1 multiplied by 24. That'll multiply to negative 24. We can do the opposite, positive 1 multiplied by negative 24. Those do not add to negative 10. Let's check another one. So we got negative 2 multiplied by 12. That will add to 10, which is not what we want. We want negative 10. Let's try the opposite though. If we have positive 2 and negative 12. Positive 2, negative 12 multiplies to negative 24, and it also adds to the negative 10 we want. So that's going to be our magic numbers right there. Sweet. 2 and negative 12. So we can go right to our answer now. Okay. So we get brackets. We put our variable there. This time our variable is p. So we put p there, p there. And then we got our two numbers, positive 2 and negative 12. So we go plus 2, minus 12. Again, the order didn't matter. I could have done the minus 12 first, plus 2 second. And lastly, we cannot forget about that 3 that we pulled out. We have to save that 3 on the outside for the very bottom, because we want to make sure if we re-expanded this whole answer, we want to make sure we go right back to the original question. Okay, if you only expanded the bracket parts, p plus 2, p minus 12, you'll only get p squared minus 10p minus 24. You got to re-multiply that 3 back in to give you the very original amount there. Okay, so that's it for today, guys. Simple trinomial factoring. It is indeed simple.